like I said, we do apologize. We were late, so I know that Chris wasn't going to be here today. So, but I did know that Mrs. Judy had a couple. He told me that she had a couple of announcements, so we'll let her go, and we'll roll into a little bit of Tuesday Talk updates. Thanks.
You can pretend I'm Chris.
That's right.
I want to tell everyone that if you haven't seen the notices that Johanna so nicely prepared, the scholarship presentation ceremony is June the 3rd, Saturday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Site to be determined yet. As soon as they get the loop in the new town, in the new building, we will, if that's possible, that's where we'll be, because that's where I really want to be. But I know that some of you can't hear without the loop, so that's still up in the air, and we'll let you know when the time comes. And that's all I had to say, except be sure and turn your phones to silent, please.
Thank you for that, Miss Judy, and she's absolutely right. A little bit of updates that I'll go into for that. But we do still have the loop not fully functioning in the town hall, so we can have certain events in there, but if there's hearing impairment, then it's going to be more problematic. So we have still, as of today, as we can see, obviously are here in the Grand Lobby South for that reason. So if it's a party or something like that, but otherwise, if it does require the hearing aids or any important information, we are still having it elsewhere, just until we can get that rest resolved with the AV specialists. So moving into some updates. So I know we have Miss Maddie here. I just saw her. Hello, sweet girl. Good morning.
So I just wanted to remind everybody, tomorrow we have an estate sale, A509, and it'll be 9 a.m. Usually Christine will be there till 12:30. And then Pam's going to be in the South Lobby today for a blood pressure clinic following this Tuesday talk.
Perfect. Thanks for those updates, Maddie. I'll have that information later on as well. Again, just a reminder for resident services, we are still recruiting for that position, but in the meantime, we can still get you taken care of. So just reach out to either Christine at 502 or Carol at 542. I've met with Carol, and she is helping facilitate some of the areas that we need in lieu of that position, and she's absolutely wonderful. So please do reach out to her. We're all working together to make sure all your needs are still met. COVID updates, none at the moment, so we'll keep it that way. We appreciate you staying safe and washing your hands and covering your nose, and let's just make sure that we can kind of keep it that way throughout the summer and going into the season in a couple months. Our employee of the month was actually Miss Samantha Sierra. I saw her on Friday and she was so happy. So she did get her extraordinary impression points, and she'll be doing some shopping with those, and we just really appreciate her. She's been instrumental. Yep. She's been fantastic. I've been able to work with her a little bit more closely. Now, I will try to slow down my talking, I apologize. Now that we've started our grand opening planning for our town hall area, I've been able to work with her a little more, and she's fantastic. So she's been key in designing our beautiful invitations that will go out, and she's just wonderful. So thanks for making her Employee of the Month. I would most certainly agree. Little bit of housekeeping updates from Evan. He has asked to please not relocate or remove the QR codes. We are having issues with Rusty and Rosie. Once those QR codes are moved and messed with, it knocks it off track. So the central location of the QR codes are programmed so that the robotics know where their home base is. If the QR codes go missing, the robotics cannot make their way home. It don't work, okay? So we gotta leave those QR codes. The robotics come to the home location when their route is completed. So if you have any QR codes, please return them to the front desk as soon as possible. So I think that's their breadcrumbs. They're the little squares. Let's see, where was one at?
Right above,
Let's see.
right above Rosie, the picture.
Yes. So right here, probably can't see it, but this tiny little square, and it looks like a sticker. But that is how the robotics know their way around.
Somebody's taking the code.
They fall off. They fall off is what happens.
They might be falling off as well, yes. So we just, we're going through and we're placing those. So if you see them, leave them intact, and we are going through and getting those back in place as well. Okay. So a couple changes. The birthday parties are actually now moved to the 3rd and the 4th Fridays, not the 2nd and the 3rd. So we apologize for any confusion there. Dining updates from Ricky. He says Gourmet continues as a second installment on the series on the 31st. And Memorial Day will be observed this Monday, the 29th, with brunch services in both dining rooms. The dining rooms will be closed in the evening for both buildings, and the pub will be closed all day. But I know that the gourmet meals have been a great hit so far, so please do make sure you get in on one.
It's a picnic on Memorial Day.
It's a picnic on Memorial
It's
Day.
not, and yes,
So we can dress down, right?
yes, yes.
It's not.
Not in the dining rooms.
Yes, at noon.
Yes,
At
yes,
noon.
you can.
At noon you can.
You can?
Yes.
If it's like Memorial Day or Fourth of
Okay.
July, just wear shorts and dress.
Betsy,
Yeah.
Ginger, I don't know.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, y'all, don't lead me wrong. Okay.
Promise.
All right, I hear you. Okay. A little bit of alarm testing. We are doing a testing today in the south building. We will send out a one call. We just want to make sure that we communicate and let you know that. Piper Fire is on site, as you've seen them busting ours holes into our community breezeways, but they are doing a bunch of testing. So that will be around what time again, Betsy?
Just this afternoon.
Just this afternoon. So we're going to get a one call out just as a reminder.
Time to go for work.
A little bit more, last few items for the construction. Of course, as I just mentioned, Piper is on site this week doing the annual inspection in the north and the south, and they are running the new piping in the breezeways for our fire protection throughout that area. So it should take about a week or two for them to do all of those beautiful holes up there. So, oops, sorry. Go back one. Okay. Blue Team is continuing to finalize their last 3 units. Fantastic. I'm super excited about the closure of that. AV specialists are finishing up the connections in the town hall. They'll actually be here a couple of times this week. They have come out a couple times, and so they should be here. I think they said Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I don't want to hold them to that because they keep changing their dates on me. But they are coming out to finalize the sound system and the hearing aid looping and some of those items. So hopefully that should be resolved by the end of this week. And they actually had offered that they will be here on Friday, so I extended that information to Ginger. That way, if any residents want to know kind of how to use that area, if you're capable of that type of technology, probably better than myself, Ginger and a couple of the residents and a couple of our team will meet with them so we can be trained on that equipment. They'll be here Friday. He said 1 p.m., but he said it could change based on how the work goes. So just kind of communicating as the time goes and trying to give you all the updates that I have, but AV has been a little unreliable in their dates they say has visited. Isn't that sweet? That's the truth. Still waiting for the tile installation. I said the same as you. I said, for goodness sake, can't we just get another guy to drill a hole? What's going on already? It's been months, but he's already been paid and he's part of the project, so we're still waiting on Wee Willie Winky to show up and do our hole in the in the fitness center. So we haven't forgotten. It's just the hole that they need to drill in order for us to store the towels, but I still am not letting go. I'm going to keep on them about these last few items for these areas. And we are still waiting on Vintner Smith for the balance wall. That should be fully functioning soon. Lots of back and forth with them. Again, Spectrum, still working with them. We have a lot of different bulk accounts and a lot of different TVs, so Darwin's been calling them for a couple of months now to try to get someone out for the 3 TVs during the fitness center so that you have cable in there. So they're not fully functioning, so I'm just continuing to report on them until we have all of that fully functioning for you. Again, we are waiting an install date for the stage lighting. That is going up in the town hall for the theater lighting. That has been approved. The project is ongoing, and we have consulted Bay Area Stage professional Bay Area Stage and Lighting. And they will be out here to finalize that. We're just waiting for an ETA from development as to when that will be done. But it still is being done, and it still is on track. I know I've been asked about the ramp. The development team is purchasing one for the stage so we can utilize that area. So I know a couple have asked me of that, so I just wanted to make sure I followed up that we are obtaining one of those. So we will have one. Okay, a little bit of additional follow-up. We did order the 4 custom no parking signs. We had them made with our Regency Oaks logo, so those will take a little longer than standard parking signs, and those are for the north area curve. Instead of it saying no parking on the grass, it will simply say no parking, and we will continue to get that process in place. We did order a new generator for our south building. We're waiting on an ETA, but we will disaster plan around it, and there are options to rent generators in the event we are without power for an elongated amount of time, which is usually a couple hours. So we did purchase another generator for the south building. That has been approved, purchase paid for, and we're just waiting on when we will obtain that. There has been about a 9-month leadway, but again, we have other options in the meantime. We did, so Stacy grabbed me, and I'm glad that she brought it to my attention, but we did open the new gym for outpatient therapy. So she's working on getting relocated to that area, but Zelco's old gym over here in the south, I don't know the exact apartment number, but I'm sure you all know where that gym is. That will be our new outpatient gym until further notice. So at some point, we will probably get that apartment turned back into a habitable unit, but not anytime soon. So we want to make sure we can offer that as an outpatient option for you. It's got some great equipment in there, and Stacy's getting moved in there. We are beginning hurricane preparedness planning. Betsy and I have already started a bunch of the forms that need to go out. We are wanting to get your records updated so we can make sure we can communicate with you and your family in the event of a disaster or hurricane planning. So we'll be getting those out, more to come. We'll be setting up a presentation. I know usually we would do a presentation to let you know what that process looks like. And we'll have more information to come in the next couple of weeks as to when exactly that is. So be on the lookout for any of those forms. Betsy, did we decide we're giving them at the meeting?
No, I'll put them in people's boxes.
Okay. We'll put some forms in your boxes. It's just a simple form that asks for your contact. We want to update our information for you, for your contact in a family, and any type of special needs. That way we can kind of get in front of that in the event we do have a hurricane, and we can do that communication. Obviously, we know when the power goes out, the phones might go down, and we still want to be able to push out communication, and we'll go over what that looks like in our next coming meetings. So please do get those to us so that can enable us to make sure we got our processes in place for you. Again, they had mentioned the estate sale is in 509 tomorrow from about 9 to 12:30. We did decide we will work with our radar gun and our ticketing process, so I'm working with security to get that going. I heard you on the speed humps, so we don't need to move in that direction. We will work with security and our radar gun in hopes to address some of these concerns. All right, our favorite topic. We will discontinue the ballot process for naming of the town hall. It has been, it was my goal to get all of your opinions. It was my goal to get all of your voices. And ultimately, we have not been able to really, I wanted us to be a collaboration, and it seems to have been more of a divide, and that's not the type of upset we wanted our community. So for now, we are discontinuing that process, and we will remain the town hall until further notice. So I had to make an executive decision. Moving on, okay, moving on. So again, as I promised, now that we have gotten those areas finalized in the back of our salon, the relax space and the hydro massage, which are absolutely amazing, we had a call with Rejuvenate. There are salon services, and we are working on getting the rest of services elevated. So we are going to be opening that area up for full membership starting July 1st. We're getting all the details out as to what that looks like. We were discussing how the billing process would go, who's going to manage the machines, et cetera, et cetera. So lots of operational logistics that are going into that. But ultimately, the Rejuvenate will help manage that area. And starting July 1st is when we'll push the button for that. They did mention that their, excuse me, my allergies are terrible today. Their esthetician and massage tech should start in about 2 weeks. So I spoke with Abby on Friday, and she did mention that their lady that does the facials and the massages will start, resume services over the next 2 weeks. They're kind of getting some of their ducks in a row. And they will be working on getting the forms and the informational flyers out for that. So if you use their services, I'm sure you know how wonderful they are. That's a fantastic area, and we're really looking forward to expanding upon that for your enjoyment. Okay, just a little bit of updates from the activities. 24th, Keeping Up with Housekeeping at 10:30 in Grand Lobby South. Thursday, May 25th, we've got the Health Talk with Dr. Evans regarding cognitive health. That's 2 in the Grand Lobby South. Friday, May 26th, Historical Society Talk at 2 in Grand Lobby South. And then Friday the 26th, our memorial celebration with John Tampanelli will be at 3 p.m. in the Breezeway. Okay. All right, look at this beautiful photo. That's my favorite. I just wanted to thank you guys. They sent that to me, and I just really appreciate the help. You know, my last message was just kind of a cry for some support and help, and we really appreciate those that showed up. So keep up with the great work. It's, definitely work in progress, but we do appreciate the collaboration. All right. So that's the most of the updates for me. Any questions, anything that I can clarify or? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to remind everybody that on Friday, this historical lecture will continue. And this next Friday at 2 o'clock in the Grand Lobby South, the Tampa Baseball Museum will be here to give a lecture on everything you ever wanted to know about Tampa baseball. So come on over.
All right.
Thank you for that. Excuse me.
I want to ask you.
Might have turned it off.
Speak up, Mary.
I am curious when the blue team is going to finish getting our storage rooms sorted out and get with us on our losses.
So let me follow up with Sarah, the corporate project manager that I work with, and I will get more information. I do apologize. I thought we had that resolved. So I will follow up with her.
Do you know when the offices in the new town hall will open up, when the people will move and relocate to that area?
So we actually were just talking about that this morning. With everything still going on, obviously with the town hall finalizations and the beauty shop and Blue Team, we felt it's best that we're going to hold off on that for about a month or so. So it's going to involve a lot of movement, a lot of IT, a lot of different moving parts. And so as a team, we want to make sure there's no interruptions in our operations, and there most certainly will be if we do this before we're fully prepared. The biggest issue is going to be a IT technological support on site. So that's really what we're working with our current IT company, is to make sure we have somebody with elevated capabilities on site for that move. So that's still in the talk. We don't have a day yet, but it is on the agenda. But it really is going to depend on when we can have that person on site, because we don't want computers down, emails not working, fax copies, everything's technology these days. So it can be quite an issue if we don't do it right.
I had a question about the exercise classes. Since Peggy's been out almost a month now, and I've heard she has a serious illness, I don't know if that's true or not, but I wondered if there's any plans for a replacement for the 5 classes that she teaches. We all rely on that so much and really miss it. And I just wondered if there were any updates on that.
Ginger, can you
Yes.
speak to that?
She should probably be back in
Need the
July.
microphone.
She's hoping to be back in July. I do, however, have some exercise classes on Channel 732 that a lot of residents were enjoying. So for right now, I'm not going to replace her in hopes that she's going to come back in July.
I have a question, probably for Ginger. The line dancing is still in here. Why hasn't it moved over there where they can dance on the floor?
We can move them, but there was a lot of moving parts as far as the equipment, and I didn't want to have to put them in and move them out. So,
That's fine,
but we can do that. We can move them over.
because it's a lot better to dance on a floor than it is on a carpet.
Right.
Did everyone catch that? She said we can move them over. Okay. Any other questions? No? Well, oh, right, Bill. Uh-oh, is this the long-awaited? Okay, give it to me. Give it to me.
You may wish to sit down.
Make sure to turn it on now. We want to catch every bit of this. There you go.
Thank you. Madam Director, Pro Tem President Judy, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bill Lewis. I live in the North Building, and I wasn't going to make this presentation until yesterday. Yesterday, the fire alarm went off. I said to Margaret, close the door. It all came back. And so I decided to go ahead and make my presentation today. For you new people, or for those in the South Building, you may have forgotten, we had a fire here on June 7th, 2022, in room R402. That's important because I live in R502. The fire alarm went off. And I said to Margaret, close the door. She closed the door. She went back to her crossword puzzle. I back to my reading. And soon there was a ding ding at the door. And then boom, boom, boom. I thought, who in the world? So I answered the door, and it was our chief of police, head of security. And he said, get out now, take the service elevator down, out. And so I did. Now the last thing I can remember that my father said is, when you're the last one to leave the house, you lock the door, which I did. Well, it was an exciting time. 22 fire vehicles showed up. I mean, ladder wagons from Clearwater, from Safety Harbor, Palm Harbor, Dunedin. We cleaned the place out. 22 firemen running around with their helmets, big axes, flashlights. It was truly an interesting evening. More red lights than you can imagine. Well, we sat there till about 11:30. The call went out. We got our administrator here out of a hockey game in downtown Tampa. She came back. Thank you very much. And that sort of sets the stage for what's happened. We live on the 5th floor, not touched by the fire or the water. The water, remember. So they said, if you live on the 5th floor, you may return. We went up and walked down the hall, and I looked. The fireman had kicked in the door. And I mean kicked in the door. The door frame, the paint around the edges, the plaster, the whole thing. Lock was shot. We went a week. Margaret stood guard outside for a week because he couldn't lock the door. Well, that's kind of interesting, but Brant, I begged Brant. I said, get a lock. He did. Within a week, I had a lock on the door, on what I call the bathroom door. So this is the saga of the bathroom door. We were promised that we would have a new door in 6 months. That came out of Brant's mouth. So I put it in my little telephone, and I saw Brant as December approached, and I said, remember, I have a door that's been promised. And he said, oh, a Christmas present. And I said, right, a Christmas present. Well, Christmas came and went. We hired a new executive director. And the three, Betsy, our new executive director, and what's his name? They were having lunch. What's his name? That's Brant. And Brant said, have you met our new director? And I said, well, briefly. She took a quarter from me. I said, how do you do? You know, that sort of thing. Well, I said to Brant, I said, you know, I'd sure like to have a new door. Well, he sat there for about 10 minutes and got up and left. Now, frankly, folks, when men his age get up and leave, you know where they're headed. But he came back and he said, you'll have a door before you leave the dining room. Don't leave too soon, he said. So we sat there till almost 2 o'clock with the greens, and we went up, and sure enough, there's our old door, the bathroom door, leaning against the wall. And I said to the carpenterette, that's a female carpenter, with all that equipment that they carry, I said, hallelujah, a new door. And she said, yes, but it won't fit. And so they took the door that wouldn't fit, they took it off and put the bathroom door back on. Within 20 minutes, there's a ringing of the doorbell. It's our chief engineer. And he said, you'll have your new door by Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. I made the fatal mistake. I thought I knew administration. I didn't ask which Monday and which Tuesday. Well, my bathroom door is still in place. Now you need to understand, the bathroom door is not fireproof. And so now I have Margaret sitting out in the hallway with a bucket of sand. The reason for the sand is nobody dare talk about water, but a bucket of sand. Now she's on duty from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. doing crossword puzzles. Any of you pass by, you might want to say hello to her. She's dead tired. Look at her. Poor thing. So one last thing. Last week, a fellow by the name of Ned stopped by, and he had one of those tapes that you push the button, it goes zip, back in. He was measuring the door, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm measuring the door for the new door." And I said, "Wonderful, yeah, good." That's the last I've seen of Ned. And so I don't really know. I think when I get the door, I want you to all come by. It's going to be a translucent glass door with a big L scribed in it for Lewis, and it'll be the prize of Regency Oaks.
We'll have a grand opening for your new door.
You think maybe a door is in our future?
Baby Christmas present. I do admit, when I was told that, I wanted to get in my car and head back to Texas. I said, there's just no way around explaining a door taking over a year. So I, of course, called Blue Team, and that's been on the top of my list. But I don't dare communicate any dates or times. I've learned from others' mistakes. So I am aware of it, and I am working on it shortly. All right, you guys, go. If you don't have anything else for me, y'all have a beautiful Tuesday. Thank you.